Hello, everyone, and welcome. Have you ever thought about how people talk in business meetings around the world? You know, what happens when a speak now culture meets a think first culture? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into today. We'll look at communication styles in the West and in Japan, and you'll see how understanding these differences can really help you succeed.
So, let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a meeting with people from other countries? And did it feel, I don't know, a little strange? Maybe a bit confusing? If you've ever felt that way, well, you are definitely not alone. Today, we're going to figure out exactly why that happens.
Okay, so here's what we've got planned. First, we'll talk about different meeting styles. Then we'll look at the Western style, which is all about speaking fast. After that, we'll explore the Japanese style, which is more about thinking first. Then we'll see how these differences can cause a big misunderstanding. And finally, we'll share a really important rule for success. Sound good?
All right, let's get started with our first topic, different meeting styles. Here's the big idea to keep in mind. When you're doing business around the world, the way people talk and listen can be, well, really different depending on where you are. And you can really see this difference when you compare business culture in the West with business culture in Japan. Honestly, their styles are almost the complete opposite of each other. But don't worry, because understanding this is the very first step to working together as a great team. Okay, so now let's jump into the Western style. If you had to describe it in just 2 words, it would be speak fast. So if you're in a business meeting in, say, the US or the UK, you'll probably notice it's very active and fast. People really value quick responses. They expect you to speak your mind freely, and they want to hear what you think right away. It's all about getting that immediate feedback. And here's something really important. If you're silent, people might think you don't have any confidence or maybe that you don't have any ideas. The goal is just to keep that conversation going. All right, now let's switch gears completely and look at the Japanese style. It's very different. It's not about speaking fast. Instead, it's all about think first. Now, to really understand the Japanese style, there's a key word we need to know. That word is harmony. So what does harmony mean? Well, it's a situation where everyone in a group feels comfortable and they all agree. It's about making sure the group works together without any problems. Keeping that good feeling in the group is super important. So think about this. In a Japanese meeting, when someone is quiet, it does not mean they have no ideas. Actually, it's the complete opposite. That silence is thinking time. It means they're thinking deeply, they're processing all the information very carefully, and they're waiting for just the right moment to speak because they don't want to break that group harmony we just talked about. Okay, let's put these 2 styles side by side. It makes it really clear, right? On one side, you have the Western style. Speak fast and freely. They value quick feedback. And remember, silence can seem like a bad thing, like you have no confidence. But then on the other side, you have the Japanese style. Think deeply and carefully. Here, they respect group harmony, and silence is a good thing. It's the time you need to process information. So, you can probably guess what happens when these 2 very different styles come together in one meeting, right? Yep. It can lead to a pretty big misunderstanding, and that's what we're going to talk about now. So let's imagine a manager from a Western country. They're in a meeting, and they see their Japanese team members are being very quiet. The Western manager might think, why are they so quiet? They must not have any ideas. Or maybe they're not motivated. See, because in their culture, everyone is expected to talk a lot. That silence is easy to misunderstand. Okay, before we look at the other side of this misunderstanding, let's learn a quick word, aggressive. What does aggressive mean? It just means acting in a really strong, forceful way. Sometimes this can make other people feel a little uncomfortable. So now let's flip it around. Let's think about it from the Japanese worker's point of view. They might be thinking, wow, why do they talk so much? It feels too aggressive. To them, all that fast talking can feel like it's disrupting the meeting, breaking that harmony. It just doesn't give anyone enough time to think. So the big question is, how can we make this work? How can we avoid these problems and work together? Well, that brings us to our last part, the rule for success. You might have heard this famous saying in English, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. What does that mean? It's pretty simple, actually. It just means that when you go to a different place, you should try to follow their local customs and rules. And this is the real key to success. So what does this actually look like? Well, if you are in a Western-style meeting, here's what you do. Step 1, you follow their local rules. Step 2, you need to speak your ideas clearly. And step 3, you adapt to their style. This means you need to speak up, share your opinions even if no one asks you directly. It's a way of showing that you respect their culture and their way of working.
And really, that's the main takeaway here. To succeed in global business, you absolutely need to adapt. You have to be flexible and willing to change how you communicate. If you can do that, you're going to be so much more successful, and you'll avoid all those confusing misunderstandings. So, I want to leave you with one last thing to think about. The next time you're in an international meeting, what will you do? Will you try to speak up more? Or will you listen more carefully for the silence? Just thinking about this is a great first step. Thanks so much for joining me today.